Get attitude means, how can I proactively change the way I think? How can I proactively increase my life? How can I proactively create better relationships and better work situations for me to enjoy it?
And welcome to the GAP, the Get Attitude Podcast, The Gap, bridging the gap from who you are to who you want to become and bridging the gap from where you are to where you want to be. Hello, my name is Glenn Bill, founder of the University of Attitude, keynote speaker and author of the international best-selling book, The ABCs of Attitude, and I've been fortunate enough to help tens of thousands of people get attitude. Attitude, the secret formula to success in your business and personal life, and this podcast will help you get yours. So, let's get some. Sharon, you ready to get some?
Sure am.
All right.
Let's do it.
That a girl. All right. Well, I want to welcome everybody. Please remember to subscribe to this podcast. Please also rate it if you would be so kind. Only 5 stars, please. And we also would love your reviews. We are focusing on Attitude Booster number 9, Eat Right and Exercise. And boy, do we have a guest, 31 years in the health and fitness business. If you are somebody that is looking to reignite your passion about your fitness, if you're somebody that is sitting there going, I need to lose weight, I need to make a change, I need to break through, I eat nothing but horrible foods, I need somebody to tell me what types of foods there are to eat, I need somebody that has a strategy, somebody that has a plan, somebody that has seen all the fads come and go. Our guest today is that person. If you are looking to bridge the gap from being 250 pounds down to 170, our guest is going to help you do that. If you are looking to bridge the gap to get your cholesterol from 310 to 200, our guest will do that. Our guest today is Sharon Phillips. I met Sharon at Lifetime Fitness. I'm doing spinning for the first time. And when she comes on, you're going to just go, oh, my God, I love this person. And so I immediately walked up and I said, you got to be my personal trainer. And so she was, and we've had a friendship since then. And Sharon was going through some personal challenges back then, which we're going to hit on. But Sharon is here to talk to you about eating right and exercising and what that means. Certified health coach, lifestyle management coach, health and fitness expert for 31 years. Sharon Phillips, welcome to The Gap.
Thank you so much, Glenn. I'm absolutely privileged and excited to be here, and I'm hoping that I can change some lives.
I know that you will. I know that you will. So, guys, hang on, buckle up, because you are getting ready to get, in my opinion, thousands of dollars of life-changing advice over the next 45 minutes. Now, you'll notice that Sharon has a little bit of an accent, and she is from South Africa.
Yes, I am. I have been here in the U.S. since 30 years. I've been here for 30 years.
Right.
So I think I've got a little bit of an Indiana Hoosier accent.
You're a South African Hoosier.
Little hillbilly accent.
I like it. So when we talk about attitude, I'd love to know what's your definition of attitude? What does it mean to you? And I'd love to know, just from when you grew up, like, what was attitude? What did that mean in South Africa? Is it different? What did you learn about South Africa when it comes to attitude, and how does it compare to the U.S.? So talk to us about where you came from and what attitude means to you.
Sure. So I think attitude is an international state of mind. I think
nice.
A good attitude in South Africa is a good attitude in the U.S. It wasn't too much that you can distinguish between the two countries, for sure. South Africa does have a hard lifestyle, so I think it throws you into the gratitude mindset that you are grateful, and there are a lot of people that don't have a lot of everything in their life, so you just immediately go into this, well, I do, and so I'm very grateful. So that has always been my whole life. My underlying attitude is gratitude, and
right.
I think growing up, I was always kind of the free spirit. I was the child in the family that would get up at 5 a.m. and go running into my parents' room and jump on their bed, and they were like, "Oh, she's awake." So I think I've always had a free spirit attitude, and I've kept the attitude. I've had a couple of challenges in my life that have really renewed my sense of attitude and why you should have a good attitude and be positive, because clearly it gets you through the challenges. So I would say it's key, and you got to work at keeping that attitude.
Mm-hmm.
You got to filter out incoming headspace subjects that will occupy your headspace. So it takes a lot of time and a lot of work to keep good attitude just because of the outside world. But I believe it's key to success in anything you do, whether it's a diet plan or whether it's a relationship. Anything you do in life requires a positive attitude.
And especially the attitude to eat right and exercise, which we're going to delve into.
Right.
But I want to first of all try to understand a little bit more, because I believe everybody has attitude coaches, and our first attitude coaches are usually our parents.
Sure.
So talk to me about your parents, or the person as a young person that influenced your attitude the most, and what did they teach you?
Okay. Well, definitely my dad. He was a businessman. He was very driven. And at the time, we all thought, wow, he's intense. But over the years, I've really grown, and I've kind of determined that he made me who I am today.
Cool.
My soul was created by him. Unfortunately, he passed away at a young age. So I think after I lost him, then I really, really reflected on what he taught me. And so he was very positive. He was very driven. He was a very, very popular man. He was a CEO of a business, and there wasn't a person that wasn't fond of him. And his personality and his attitude was everything. And so I kind of see myself taking the same attitude that he had. So definitely my dad for sure, but also my mom too. I would never leave my mom. She's been the trooper too. So, she was so cute with my dad and I. We had the big personalities, and sometimes she would say, Shan, not everyone likes an obnoxious personality. And then, you'd have to reel back a little bit. But we were definitely two peas in a pod. So I felt like, I think that was also one of the things in my life that made me realize, wow, your time on earth is short.
Yes.
And you got to make every single second count, because I think his death was so sudden. He just had a massive heart attack, and he was here one day and gone the next. And so it's like, wow, you really don't have a lot of time. And it's about waking up every day like it's your last.
Yeah, and so when you talk about young men dying from massive heart attacks, my guess is there were some lifestyle choices that affected that, or might have caused it. Could have been hereditary. How old were you when your father passed?
Well, he was 57, and I was in my early 20s.
Wow.
And it does contribute, lifestyle and the general state of your health. His, unfortunately, was hereditary.
I see.
Both his parents also passed away from heart attacks. And so I think another reason why I'm so passionate about health, because if there's something that I can do to prevent it, you can't always prevent disease, but you can go into it pretty strong. So that if you are faced with any diagnosis or anything like that, your body's strong to fight it.
Now, Sharon and I are the same age, and I know that, me and
we
you...
are?
Well, we're close. My guess is we're close. Because we're going to talk about things,
I was older than you.
Are you older than me?
I don't know.
Are you older than 50?
No.
You're not older than 50.
I'm going to 50.
You're going to be 50. I was at your 40th birthday party, I think.
I'm 47, so I'm nearly there. I don't want to wish my life away, but it's creeping up.
Yeah, I know. It's fast. I'm 52, so I know. But one of the things that I've been seeing is the people I hang around, the people I social media with, I've been seeing this increasing posts by daughters who lost their fathers, and how hard it is and how difficult it is. And my guess is that many of our gappers who are females who have lost their fathers already know this, but some may be going through it, some may be having... I want to know, what was your mindset to get through that time? And what advice can you give those people that maybe haven't lost their dad, just lost them, or whatever? What would you tell them?
So I think prior to my dad's losing my dad, I went through my second-born child. He was diagnosed with autism, severe autism, and so I think I'd really gone through that struggle, and I think that was a huge point in my life where I realized about attitude, that to go forward with a diagnosis like autism. He was severe. We thought he was deaf for a while, and then he passed all the the tests, and we found out he had severe autism. So I think they told me that you would grieve just about as bad as if losing somebody. And I wouldn't say it was as bad because I had lost, then I went on to lose somebody, and so it wasn't as bad. But it was a hard time. It was brutal. Just realizing that your child will not be the person that you thought he would be.
Yes.
That was at the time of the diagnosis. And then as I've gotten older, I've realized I wouldn't have him any other way.
Right.
You know, at the time, it's like, oh my gosh, like why me? You get that attitude, that victim attitude.
Yes.
And then I realized that I had to tackle autism face on, and I had to be strong, and I had to decide it was either go forward or go back and drown.
And so many people know people who have children with autism. What and so yeah, like I'm sitting there going, Jason, maybe we should have had her on Love Adversity, right? But that's why I had you here, because Gappers, I'm just telling you that Sharon is somebody that has had a lot of life experience in the 47 years. And some of those tough times you fought through, and you're so positive, and you look fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
And no matter
That's
what
nice.
you are going through, right, you are an example that, you know what, I hopefully you'll watch this and go, man, she's been through a lot of stuff, but boy, she's overcome it. Yeah. What can people say to parents to make things easier on them, or when they see a kid with autism with their mom or dad? What are the things that people have said to you that have really boosted your attitude, where you went, that is so kind, that is so nice?
Right.
Has there been anybody that's just come out of the blue and done something really awesome for you and Chase? It's not Chase, it's Ash.
Yes. Yeah, I get a lot of that. Early days in his diagnosis, when he displayed a lot of inappropriate behavior everywhere we went. He screamed. He didn't sleep for about the first 6 years of his life. So sleep deprivation, his psychiatrist said to me, prolonged sleep deprivation becomes a mild form of schizophrenia.
Yeah.
And boy, do I understand that. There were times where I would be up all night, and then I'd have to get up for work at 5 a.m. and train people like Lane Bell.
Right. That's not easy.
So yes, I have. Over the years, people always do that now, because you can tell that to the general public, you can tell there's something wrong with him. He hums, he's very loud, he screams, he touches people, and so you can tell.
Sure.
And now a lot of people come up to me and say, man, you look like a really special mom. And a lot, like when I'm traveling now, and I travel with him all the time now, and so people always want to help me. So a lot of people have come around.
So that matters.
That matters. It does, because when autism was still new to everyone, he's 21 now, and he was 2 when he was diagnosed. He would be having tantrums in the grocery and all over, and people would come up to me and say, my child will never behave like that. And so those were tough times. But I grew, and I think more so it was more the acceptance of autism. I lost that chip on my shoulder that, wow, why me? Why does everyone else around me have normal kids? Well,
sure.
I hate to say normal, because that's kind of not a
I understand.
politically correct word. What is normal anymore, right?
Right.
So as I grew into autism, I got stronger, and I could deal with it more. Getting back to the lifestyle management part of it, I found that if I was strong and fit and healthy,
yes,
I could take it on.
There you go.
And I think that was key in every situation, from the autism diagnosis to losing my dad and then going through a bad divorce.
Yeah.
At every point, I would go through the bad time, and then I would think to myself, why am I not doing what I tell everybody else to do?
Right.
Why am I not? And then as soon as I flipped the gears, I got back on track. So lifestyle management is key to handle adversity and handle struggles. I think it just, strong mind, strong body, you can take on the world.
Yeah,
for sure.
And I love that. And so if you are sitting in your car, as I always say, or walking on the beach, and life isn't good, and you're battling a challenge, and you all know, you people that are listening, that you're battling a challenge, how do you expect to conquer that challenge in a manner that is brief and quick and final if you're not in the best shape of your life, right? I mean, it's just, how do people think that?
Yeah, and it's a lot, because over the years that I've been coaching, it's, I can say to people, you can do this, you can do that, but you really have to get deep down in someone's head, and it starts within, and it starts with belief with yourself. And that was one of before my divorce, I was running strong, I was running my fastest marathon, I was running Boston, and as soon as I went through my divorce, I lost all sense of belief in myself.
Wow.
And I just lost it all, and then I started losing in my competitive sports because I didn't believe in myself.
Right.
I had the tools, I had everything I needed, but my heart wasn't in the game. And so I think people have to just realize, go back into that mindset of gratitude. Look at the situation and say, okay, well, I'm going through a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
I've lost somebody, but haven't lost everything.
Right.
I've got my kids and I've got my health, and those are two key players that will make me get back on track and realize that no one has the right to tell you you're not enough.
Right.
You decide that you are enough, and when you go through these issues in life or these problems, you get into that mode of, oh, what did I do, or why did I get to this point? You can't ask those questions. There's no time for those kind of questions. You've got to just get back on track and say, okay, I am enough, and I believe that I have what it takes.
Sure.
And everyone else needs me to be strong. If there's kids involved in a divorce, you got to stay strong, and you just got to get back up. When I went through my divorce, I cried for about 4 months every day, and I was thinking to myself, again, why am I not doing? Why am I not exercising? Why am I not eating right? And something just flipped, and I said, I'm done. I'm getting back on it. And as soon as I made all those healthy choices and got back on track, life changed.
Yeah,
for sure.
You got sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yes, absolutely,
right?
Absolutely. And it was that mindset of that victim. As soon as you become a victim of something, you're not gonna get through it.
Right.
You have to reflect and see what you do have in your life. And I mean, my two boys and I, we didn't have anything, and that's okay.
Right.
What I did realize out of a divorce is you don't need anything.
Right.
You don't. You
just
don't need
each
anything.
other.
It's just stuff.
Right.
It's just stuff. And if you have your health, you're the wealthiest person on the planet.
Sure. And then I always used to sit there, because I was with you during this time.
Yes.
And I was like, holy God. I always said, I think I said this to you, God is putting you through this because you're going to have an angel. I said, Sharon, trust me. There are going to be men lining up going, she's available.
I don't know about that.
So tell me about your white knight, your Prince Charming, and how that's gone. Because, this ended up, without going through that.
Yes.
This, and I don't know Jack, but I've seen him, and I follow him, and I follow you guys.
Yeah.
And I just see how happy you are. Tell me about Jack and this new guy and what he's taught you about attitude.
So when I met Jack, as you go through these times, these hard times, and then you come out of it, and then something great happens. You're like, oh my gosh, this is how it was supposed to be.
Right.
And all the sorrow and the sadness that you felt goes away, and you're like, oh my goodness, this is who I was supposed to be with. So over the few years after my divorce, I met Jack, and we realized that we were soulmates.
Yeah.
We love everything about each other. We love to do everything together. And I didn't realize that I would find someone like that. And so I did. He has an unbelievable personality. His attitude is wonderful. He's a successful man, and it's not only in his job. He's just a successful man with everything in his life. I don't base success on financials at all.
Sure.
He's just very wealthy in a lot of things that he has. And it's
beautiful.
It's been awesome. And there's so many people out there that will find who they're supposed to be with. So
Sure.
don't give up. Just remember that you are enough, and you have just as much as everybody else.
My sister had a special needs child. This is why, and the thing I love about that I see Jack, and again, hopefully I'll get to meet him someday. Yes. I see how much he loves Ash.
He does.
And I see how they interact together.
Yes.
And so my brother-in-law, my sister had a special needs kid and went through a divorce and met this incredible man who loved her special needs. She's since passed. She was my goddaughter.
Yeah.
But to get that gift and to have somebody that takes the whole you and everything that's going on,
right.
It's just such a blessing.
And I think it's his attitude too. He doesn't shy away from hard times, and so he tackles it face on, and so he just embraced Ash, and they're pretty good buddies now. They
That's
go camping
good.
by themselves, and so yeah, it's great. It's
And-
great. And we have 5 kids. We blended with 5 kids now, and we've gone through hard times. My stepkids lost their mom, and I was really, really close to her, and I helped take care of her for the
Very tough.
last 6 months of her life.
Mhm.
And I think looking at the big picture, I always try and look at the big picture of every situation.
Yes.
And it really wasn't just coming down to me finding my knight in shining armor.
Yeah.
It was
yeah.
more that I was given a task to do, and that was to take care of his kids,
Yeah.
Nick, Nate, and Jenna, and I love them with all my heart.
Oh, that's
and
wonderful.
I think my goal, I promised their mom that I would keep her in their hearts forever, and we're doing a good job with that.
And what's
So-
her name? We may as well put her
Her
on the
name's
podcast.
Tony.
All right,
Yeah.
Tony in heaven. God
Yes,
bless you.
Yes. So it just everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
At the time, you may not think it's what should happen, but it does. And so there was more to than me just finding my soulmate to run off into the sunset with. I was given
More than
a
that.
special job to take care of the kids.
And I think again that this is why you were brought here. It's like it's amazing what you find out from our guests, and we have, I think, some of the most incredible talent that comes into this studio that has an unreal story. And when people are looking to bridge the gap from who they are to who they want to be, where they are to where they want to go, you have done that. You've bridged the gap. But it almost sounds like there was a real calling. There was a
Yes.
predisposition of what you were supposed to do.
Right. And I think with anything, with the autism diagnosis too, I ended up being on the board of the Autism Society.
There you go.
And I was talking to people who had just had a newly diagnosed child, and it was my job to tell them that it's not a death sentence.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
you will get through it.
And
You
to
know,
take action.
Right. And like I said in the beginning, I just wanted a cure, and I don't want a cure anymore. I just want acceptance. I want
Sure.
people to accept people with disabilities, because they are definitely a forgotten about community, which is sad.
Mhm.
You know?
And there's so much, they teach us so much.
They
There's
do.
so much to learn.
They do.
They make our society, in my opinion, more gentle,
Absolutely.
more loving. I took Jessie to her I may have told this before, to her prom.
Yeah. Oh.
And when you go to a prom with all special needs kids, nobody cares about the corsage, nobody cares about the
They
dress,
don't.
nobody cares about who's with who. They all dance together,
Yes.
and it was like seeing a prom of a special needs prom. I was like, oh my God,
Yes.
who would want to be a quote unquote normal kid?
Right. Well, that's one of the reasons why that fitness competition is I wanted to, because I donate to Ashton's. He goes to a daycare, and it's a little daycare at Kessler and Keystone.
Sure.
And there are about 30 or 40 people that go there.
Joy's house.
It is Hollis Adams.
Hollis Adams.
Yes.
Okay, very good.
And Ashton absolutely loves it, and they just do community work. It's not they don't do jobs or anything. It's just community work, and everyone there is just fantastic. And every single time I leave after I've dropped him off, I feel uplifted.
Yeah, how do you
like,
not?
Wow. You know, I'm part of me. I'm thinking how grateful I am that I'm not in a wheelchair.
Yes.
So I leave thinking, wow, I think I need to go run because I can. You know,
right.
there's some things in life. Why do you do that? Because I can.
Right.
And that's what I tell all my people.
And that's called what?
Hollis Adams.
Hollis Adams. So if
So
you're
when
listening to this, we want you to look up Hollis Adams.
Adams,
We want
yes.
you to go give them money.
Yes.
We want you to.
So if I win this, I'm giving that money to Hollis Adams
Awesome.
because they need it, and it's magical.
now, when this airs, she'll have already won or lost, but I'm going to try to put a link out. But Sharon is on this. It's called Miss Health and Fitness. I hope she's the champ. I want you to look it up. I want you to look up what she's doing, and I'd like you to look at Hollis Adams. And if you feel so inclined, all my gappers, wouldn't it be great if we could have anybody that is listening to this send them $10, $50, and then $500, and then just put in your memo, care of Sharon Crowder, and maybe we'll raise $500 for him with the people that listen. How cool would that
Yes,
be? Now, one thing that you've developed, which I think is really cool, which I think has to do with eat right and exercise, is this acronym called the RED Zone.
Yes.
And it stands for rest, exercise, and diet. And I know that Roche Diagnostics has taken this on, and I know that and I have a lot of friends at Roche, and they all know it. And I think it's great to give formulas to people to help themselves with this thing called Eat Right and Exercise. So let's just walk through RED and the red zone and what that means. And I want you to talk to our gappers and our listeners about this thing called, let's start with rest. Let's talk about rest. I want you to ask them questions. What do you say to our people that, you know what, need rest because nobody's getting it anymore?
Right. So just getting back to where I came up with the red zone, all these years, what I found in coaching people and lifestyle management, whatever you prescribe, because everyone's different, so you'll prescribe something different to everybody, depending if they're an athlete, if they have pre-existing conditions of health issues, or if they're just a general population person. Everything, what works for one doesn't always work for everyone. So you have to customize the individual's plan. With the red zone, it's basic. It's very basic. As soon as it gets complicated, you set people up for failure. They don't want to overthink anything. So with the red zone, rest, exercise, and diet. Like I said to you earlier, I'm not such a fan over the diet part.
We're going to find a new word.
Because
we're going to find a new word.
They say diet, it's like people say, I'm going to start my diet on Monday.
Yeah.
The chances of them eating double calories on the Monday are pretty high. And it's a mindset. It's like, start now. Start now rather than Monday, because you always set yourself up for failure. So getting back to the red zone.
Let's start with rest.
Rest. So most important, it's a secret weapon. People underestimate the value of sleep. So many issues can arise from lack of sleep, hormonal issues, and that's when your body repairs and builds. So I always recommend 8 hours, and people challenge me all the time. They said, I do 6 hours, and I do that. And so it's like,
need it.
well, okay, well you do what you need to do, but I'm saying as your coach that 8 hours is the amount you should sleep.
Right.
So people don't only they just think that rest is sleep, but it goes far beyond that. I highly recommend meditation. You need to shut down and you need to be still. I meditate every day for 20 minutes. It's key. You need to cut out all the monkeys in your head jumping around.
Yes, so let's just very quickly give me a 30-second course. People like meditate. They sit there and they go, I don't.
Yeah. No.
What's just 2 or 3 quick points for the people that have never meditated? What would you tell them to do right now?
Yeah. So there are a lot of apps. There's tons of apps now that you can download, and some of the meditations are 3 minutes, some are 5 minutes, some are 20 minutes.
Cool.
I like a longer one, but if you've never done it before, because you really have to teach yourself how to relax and kind of disconnect. So 20 is good for me, but I've been trying to teach my husband to meditate, and I like Deepak Chopra. Okay. He's fantastic.
Sure.
Why I like him is because he will talk a little bit before and get your mindset in a great state, and he'll give you a few pointers of what you should be thinking about.
Right.
So that occupies your head space with, okay, I'm going to be thinking about this, and you're not just sitting there going,
Right.
And so
the first thing you should do is Google meditation apps.
Yeah,
pick an app and go.
Yes, pick an app and go and choose what works for you. But it was quite funny because my husband is so busy all the time. And so he did it, and I said, okay, now this is what you have to do. You got to just find somewhere you can sit up or you can lie down, be still, listen, and then he will give you the opportunity to meditate. And so he fast forwarded the
Of course
talking.
he did, right.
And I was like, that does not work. You have to. And he did not have time to listen. And I was like, oh, brother.
All you men out there that are listening to
you've got to give yourself some time to get good at it.
Schedule it.
Yeah, start with 2 minutes and just have stillness, and then you start coaching and it's. I highly recommend it. I'm probably guessing that you are not the guy that meditates.
No.
But yes, you need to do it. You need some quiet time.
So what do you say to people who go, I can't sleep. I can never sleep. There's no way I can sleep for 8 hours. My mind's too much. What is the best thing you can do to help people sleep more? And then I always was taught this. If you're at least in bed resting, really resting, you're getting 80% of your sleep anyway. So don't worry about it. And then when I started not obsessing and stressing that I wasn't sleeping enough, I actually would fall asleep.
Yeah.
So what are some one or two quick tips on how to help people fall asleep, how to get the best rest ever, and all that?
Well, I think definitely, I would say, first of all, I'd look at someone's diet. You know, if they're drinking caffeine or if they're drinking caffeine all day. A lot of times, once you have a certain amount of caffeine, if you have an overload, then it doesn't have any effect on your body. But if you like have a cup of coffee in the morning and in the afternoon, maybe that's too late. So I would assess the diet first, because that's key. And then you just look into a lot of other different things. Is it the hormones? Going back to those hormones, those dreaded hormones.
Yes.
So it could be hormones, but then it's maybe it's the social media. It's the digital. You know, which I recommend. I was going to get to the digital detax after meditation. Shut it down. Shut it down. Everyone is, I don't know if it's just amplified in my house because I've got a bunch of teenagers and kids.
It's not.
But they are on their phones all the time, and they're taking photos of themselves all the time. Like, one of my kids took a photo of his eye, and I'm like, okay, enlighten me. Who did you just send your eye to?
Right.
Like, who wants to see your eye?
Right.
So I think it's shutting that down. It's
Love
a
that.
cooler
Great advice.
A cooler temperature in your room. And literally, I would say cut out the screen time 2 hours before bed.
I love it.
So that you can shut your mind down to get prepared.
If you want to bridge the gap from where you are to where you want to be and you can't sleep, those are 3 really good points. Let's go to exercise.
Exercise.
Tell us about number 1, right?
Yes.
I just don't feel like it. I can't bring myself to do it. It's too painful. I have a million excuses. How do you smash
through that all the time?
Of course you do.
Everyone says, I don't have time. I'm like, you don't have time. We all have the same amount of hours in the day. I don't buy that. You don't have time. So I think
I love Matt De La Cruz always used to say this. He would be like, oh, I just can't find the time. He's like, well, shit, it's not you can't find the time. You can't find the gym, buddy. Get in there.
Yeah, so it's definitely over the years I've really come to realize that everyone overthinks it, and they think, oh my gosh, I've got to be in the gym 2 hours. I've got to do weights, and I've got to, people always say to me, well, I'm not an Iron Man like you. You don't have to be an Iron Man. You don't have to be an Iron Man. For you to have 2 days a week exercising, you'll have psychological benefits. So you'll feel better about yourself. 3 days, you'll see a slight improvement, but 5 days you'll see results.
Right.
So it depends on what you're after. So my philosophy is move every day. Move every day for 30 minutes, whether it's a run at a 6-minute pace or whether it's a walk at a 30-minute pace.
Right.
Just do something.
Good.
Do something to get your body going. So like I said, 2 days a week. Don't underestimate 2 days a week. If your life is really, really busy, then do 2 days a week. Or if you're the type of person that's getting into an exercise program, 2 days is sufficient. It's more than you were doing.
Right.
And so start with baby steps. I always say Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yes.
But that's because I wasn't on the job, right?
Right. Exactly true. No doubt about that.
No, I'm kidding.
You would have done it.
So I say to them, start with 2 days a week. 2 days a week, go out for 20 minutes and walk.
I love
and
it.
You'll feel better, and then the next day you won't exercise, and the next day you'll be excited to get going again.
Yes.
So many people say, I'm going to sign up and I'm going to go to the gym every day, and they come in and they go all out, and I don't see them back for about 5 days because they can't walk.
Right.
And so it's like, people, it's not rocket science.
Right.
Take baby steps. There's nothing to prove to anyone. Take it slow. Build up to 3 days a week. Just take it slow.
I love that. And so think about this. If you moved twice a week, what would it do for you? If you're somebody that says, you know what, I can move for 20 minutes 2 days a week, simply I want you to commit to a 20-minute walk 2 days a week. Hit us up at the University of Attitude. Say I listened to Sharon. And at a minimum, and you could do it for 30 days. Don't amplify.
Right.
Don't try to do it more.
And I think also what's key too is knowing. I like to speak about belief, and then I like to speak about the why.
Yes.
And I've over the years, for years I was that extremist. I had to be the fastest. I had to be the leanest. I had to be everything. Now I'm getting old,
right.
And it's like, you know what? I'm okay with not being the fastest anymore. And
because you're becoming the smartest.
You've got to realize that what you're doing it for. Why are we doing this? People come to me and they say, I want to lose 20 pounds for a reunion, or I want to lose 20 pounds for this. I'm going to a wedding. And I'm like, why? why wouldn't you do it for health? Why wouldn't you do it for longevity? Why do you have to have something like that to lose 20 pounds? Like, first of all, and I'm an aggressive coach, so I know I can tell you need to lose 30 pounds. It's
Right.
aggressive, but you know what? I'm passionate about changing a life, and I know the formula. So I'm out there, you know.
Yeah.
Don't waste my time and your money, because I'm here to get your results.
Right.
So follow my formula, and I'll help you. I'll hold your hand the whole way. But you've got to figure out why you're doing it. And to be in a size 0 jeans is not the reason.
Right.
We get fit, we get strong for, like we spoke about earlier. If you are faced with the disease, with the diagnosis, we can be really, really healthy, but sometimes we can't always dodge it. So you can be perfect, and like we said, genetics and hereditary, and it could happen, but we work really hard to be in the best shape and the best state we can, so that if we are faced with some kind of diagnosis, we can beat it. We're strong to beat it. Because everyone don't value their health until they get a diagnosis.
You're right.
They don't value their health. So in the time why I was an extremist, I've realized that chasing intention is better than perfection.
Amen.
You know, if we have an intention, it's easier than chasing the perfection part of it.
That is deep and awesome.
It
chase
is.
your intention.
It's got to be
Don't chase
intentional.
the pounds, chase the intention.
Yes.
Chase
Why
the
are
vision.
we doing it? What do we want out of it? We want to live longer. We want to feel, you know, like a lot of people will say to me they want to lose 50 pounds. And I'm like, okay, why 50 pounds?
Right.
And I'll say to them, why don't we get you to a point where you feel like $1 million bucks? And that could be 20 pounds.
Yeah.
And if it's 20 pounds, then we've done our work.
Well, and let's be honest, if they lost 3 pounds,
Yeah.
they're going to feel like $1 million bucks,
Right.
and then you have momentum.
Right. And I've seen it with my son. He lost 10
Absolutely,
pounds. He's
right.
lost 140 in total, and he lost 10 pounds. And he was like, oh my gosh, my jeans are loose. My jeans are loose. Now he's
Stud
100
muffin.
Yeah.
Got
yeah.
chicks all over
Right,
him.
right. And, you know, it's just making the decision to commit. You know, I had a story with my sister. She went for an annual physical. It was about 6 months ago, and she was diagnosed pre-diabetic, and she called me up
Yes.
after the doctor, and she's like, oh, Shan, I'm pre-diabetic. And I said, okay, so here's the deal. You can either decide to commit to yourself, or you can forget what the doctor said and be like everybody else, the however many, I've got it down here, 34 million people with diabetes in
Right.
the U.S.,
Yes.
and you can start taking a pill. And you can feel horrible, and you can cut your life short. So you either commit and say, okay, you know what? I'm worth more than living with some kind of disease that I could potentially control.
Yes.
And I want to see my kids get married.
Yeah.
And so I said, you need to decide. And she's like, game on, sister. She gave it up. She changed her diet. She's down 40 pounds, and she feels fantastic.
And she has no diabetes.
No pre-diabetic. And she's riding her Peloton every day, and she's loving it.
Peloton, killer,
I love
killer,
Peloton.
killer. People
I
are
love-
going crazy
I
for
know.
So you
I know.
recommend Peloton?
Oh my gosh, fantastic! Just because it's accountability.
And you know, you're not going to get healthy and you're not going to lose weight by taking pills from the internet and Facebook ads, correct?
No,
So lower your
No.
stress.
do not.
This is your rest. Get rid of your screen time. None of that shit works.
No.
It doesn't work like being with you. Now, if you guys want to follow Sharon, she is on Instagram at Sharon L. Phillips, and she's on Facebook at Sharon Phillips. I know you're almost full of friends, but if you're listening to this, if she's making sense, if you're feeling her, if you're feeling like you're changing inside, if you're feeling like I can download an app and do 2 minutes of meditation a day. I can walk 20 minutes a day, twice a week. Trust me, that is going to be your first step on the bridge, your first step on your bridge to bridge the gap for your health and your wellness.
And reach out to me. Send me a message. I would love to
Oh,
connect.
she loves it.
I would
Yes.
love to connect, and I can help with anything that I can to get you, because sometimes it's just a few key pointers to get in the right direction, whether it's sending me, you know, like when you train people, it's not just about the hour with them. It's the lifestyle. It's like, what are you doing today? What are you doing tomorrow? What are you eating? And so
Right.
I'd be happy to connect with anyone and give you free advice on.
I would come in and I'd go, I had 7 beers and a big cheeseburger.
Yeah,
last
and then
night."
I was like,
She
you're
would go,
a hopeless cause.
"Glenn,
No.
empty calories, empty calories, empty calories. That's what you
right.
used to see. I
Oh,
remember.
and liquid bread. Everyone that drinks
Liquid
beer
bread.
is liquid bread.
I
It's
know,
like,
girl.
but getting back to the extremist.
Yes.
I've matured,
Uh-huh.
and I am promoting an 85-15 ratio of lifestyle management. 85 clean,
Yes.
because I do believe that life is short.
Yes.
And eat the cake. Oh
Right.
yeah.
Eat
If
the
you want to
cake.
eat the cake, eat the cake. But don't eat the cake every day.
Yes.
Right?
Just 15.
So,
Just,
yes, because I love, my husband and I's favorite thing to do, we collect bourbon and chocolate.
Oh. I have a bourbon bar at home.
You do?
Yes.
You do?
I'll have to bring you guys over.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
What's your favorite?
Well, I like Harper's
Okay.
is what it's called, which you probably never
I've
ever
never heard
seen.
of that.
Yeah,
Yes.
IW Harper's. It comes in a beautiful bottle.
Okay.
And it's
Okay.
amazing.
Nice.
And then the other bourbon
Blanton's.
Blanton's, of
So hard to
course.
get.
You like?
Oh,
Yes,
yeah,
it's hard to get.
It's hard to get. Yeah.
But the one, oh gosh, I can't remember it. It's like Grassy Creek, or it's not Knob Creek. It's a Grassy Branch, or it's Branch Creek, or something
like that.
So I do a lot of bourbon tastings, a lot of competition.
Have you
It's
done
only-
the Bourbon Trail?
No, but
Yes, we did that a couple of years ago.
Did
That
you
was,
love?
Yes,
Yes.
that was awesome. That was fun.
Was
yes.
there plenty of exercise going on with that?
No,
That gets
no.
tough.
That was in the 15%.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I got
Yeah.
you. I'm down. And 15%, when you think about it, is 1 day out of 7.
Right, and so I normally do when you're in your routine, do the 85 where you are in a set routine. You know you can eat well, and you're working, or you're weak, and then on
Right.
the weekend allow yourself.
So I want you to brag just real quick. What's the craziest freaking physical feat you ever made happen for you? Do you remember? Like, was it a real triathlon, or did you run 100 miles in a day? You had to have done
No.
something just whack.
So I think the hardest I did was the Leadville 100. It is a 100-mile mountain bike ride in Colorado. You start at 6,800 and you climb to 10,000 feet. So that about killed me, I've got to say. And then the next one, we did a marathon over the Imogene Pass. You go from Telluride to Ouray. That about killed me too. So my husband and I, we always try and do something epic every year.
Awesome.
And so the very next year, we did Louisville Ironman. I said, I am choosing it. It's not going to be over a mountain. It's not going to be altitude. And so we did Ironman. So we're trying to do something epic every year. We've kind of slowed down a little bit just because of his work's travel, and we've had so much going on. So, but it's just different stuff. And I think that's also key in an exercise program too, is picking something you love. And if you can have the ability to change it up, because anything you do for a long, long time gets old and boring. So change it up.
Tell me, because this happens. Yeah, your 30-minute workout session, or you're on that 20-minute walk, and it's 10 minutes into it. And everybody that's listening, you have your different stuff, and it all happens to us. Then you start saying shit like this. You know what? I could just cut it off a little early because I'm tired. What's the training? What do you need to tell yourself when you're looking at the clock, looking at the digital readout, and going, I could maybe cut it short?
Yeah, and there's times that you do that, and even athletes do that. They're not as on the game as they usually are, and they cut it short. So there's some days where I wake up and I feel like I haven't had the best sleep, or my heart rate's running a little higher, and I was planning to do an hour ride, and I end up doing a 30-minute walk.
And so you're saying it's okay.
It's okay, because you set yourself up for failure. If you
Yes.
now don't cut your walks every you mustn't cut it short every day now,
Yes.
Glenn. I'm not giving you that.
I know.
But now and again, if you do have stuff going on in your life, maybe you've got stress, maybe you didn't sleep, maybe a lot of factors that influence. Be kind to yourself.
Yes.
And as long as it doesn't happen every day, just move on from it. If you didn't do your hour ride and you did a 30-minute, don't think about it again. Just enjoy the walk and be done.
We're going to get to D in the red zone, but you sent me this beautiful thing because Sharon's 47, and she is like, nobody freaking talks about menopause, as she says it in her South. So she sent me. So for all you,
that was the worst South African accent I've ever heard.
well, she's South African Indiana hillbilly, Jason. She's
Menopause.
So so I'm going to read this. I think
Yes.
this is so funny, and we giggled about this,
And
but
it's very true. So if there are other ladies that are are on their exercise but are going through menopause and need some help and advice just to discuss things, shoot me a message. I'll talk you off the ledge, man. I was on the ledge with it. I went to the doctor and I had a bunch of tests run and everything came back fine. And he told me I needed a counselor. And I was like, no, pal. You don't understand. I've got a perfect life. I have no stress. Everything's great. There is something going on in my body that's attacking me.
Yes.
This is not right.
So what ended up happening is you got sprinkled with menopause fairy dust. And it comes from Menno Health, which is cool. And it says, I'll read it. At first, she, the fairy, steals your figure.
Yes. Weight gain.
Then she steals your sleep. Next, your mood, your patience, your eyesight. And finally, she eats your brain.
Yes.
All she leaves with you is a lousy mustache, a muffin top, hot flashes, itchy skin, and 10 million different moods, a dodgy memory, and an endless need for naps, coffee, wine, and carbs.
Yes, and that's exactly what happened to me. So again, in my life, I had to decide I was either going to embrace this or fall in a heap and die.
Yes.
And I embraced it. So I got help, and because I mean, talk about stealing your brain, brain fog like I've never had in my life. I'd go to the grocery and I'm like, why am I here? And I'm like, oh, good grief. And so then I started talking to people in my classes, because when I was teaching a lot, I would see anywhere between 80 and 150 people a day in all my classes.
Sure.
And so I would just talk to all the ladies. I had a lot of ladies that followed me. And I would say, oh my gosh. And they're like, oh, you as well? Oh my gosh. And then I started realizing that this was a problem.
Yes.
Women in our age group all dealt with that. And I'm like, that's it. I'm hitting the road, and I'm going to talk about menopause, because everyone thinks there's something going on with them. And then they get told they need a counselor. Meanwhile, their body is just changing.
Right.
So you overcome it. I did seek help, and not from that one doctor that told me I needed a counselor.
Yes.
Never going back to him. Are you kidding me?
So on the exercise and eat right phase,
for sure,
how can those two things help a woman through menopause?
So eat right.
What do you recommend?
Yeah, what I learned, which is a huge thing, is that my hormones were off, and I was really, really high in estrogen. And anytime I took in alcohol, anytime I took in caffeine, and I took in food with toxicity,
yes,
my body was fighting to get rid of all that.
Meaning sugar.
Yeah, sugar and all of the above. My body was fighting to discard that before my estrogen. And so I was in a perpetual state of really bad estrogen levels, so the minute I cleaned up my diet and said, okay, I'm going to start eating this and not that.
Well, what was this?
It changed.
What is this, so our people know?
Alcohol.
I mean, no, you
caffeine.
said I'm going to start eating.
It just so I'll get to. I have a whole bunch of rules for it. That'll come in diet.
On D.
Yeah, in D. Yeah.
Well, then let's jump into it.
Okay, so D.
So we're in the red zone. We rest, which we said, get your app, exercise, 20 minutes. Let's talk about D. Give us some D stuff.
So I think D is most important. I think it's more important than anything else that we've spoken about, rest and exercise. I think that over the years, there's billions of dollars, the global amount of money that people are spending on health and wellness and self-care. It's just skyrocketing.
Sure.
And I think the world is getting more unhealthy every day, and they're getting bigger. And the state of health is so different 2 years ago. And like we spoke
I think
about
it's food
the beginning.
Driven. Is it food driven?
Yes, it's got to be food driven. And so what was the size, and that's a huge thing like we spoke before, it's you go to the grocery and you see an apple that's the size of your head. Yes. And so I tell people that is not the apple you should be eating, because that is absolutely being modified. So it's the modification of the food. They're changing the science behind the food, and they're wanting bigger and better, and bigger and better is not better.
And it sticks in your body.
Yes, and so like the chicken breasts
yes.
are huge.
Oh, I love them.
Yeah, you don't want to eat those, Glenn. You need to choose the baby chickens.
Okay.
Okay, and the farm raised and anything that.
What about eggs?
Cage free.
Cage free.
Yes.
The other stuff.
Because if you've seen some of the chicken farms, the chickens are all all in together, and
that
they all
shit's
like
not
can barely
good.
stand up, and
Right.
and yeah, you want the more natural. So getting into my 5 rules.
Let's talk about those.
Like I said, over the years, I've determined these rules because I've seen there's so many different people. Some like to count calories, some don't. Some like to count grams of protein. Some don't like to count anything. And my takeaway over the 30 years is the 5 rules are: if the first ingredient is high fructose corn syrup, stay away from that. That is not sugar. That is man-made sugar.
Ugh.
And you will look on the ingredients. If it's the first ingredient,
Right.
do not put that in your mouth.
I love it.
Number 2, if it has artificial sweetener in it, do not eat it. Okay?
Right.
Do not eat the foods that are artificially sweetened. The aspartames do more harm for your body, well, on the same level as the sugars.
And this all creates weight gain.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely. And bad health. Not
Yeah.
only weight gain. It's about lifestyle management. It's about good health. It's wellness. It goes far beyond. If you get yourself aligned in a wellness program, the weight will come off.
I hope I'm writing these down. If you're
So number
watching us on
3.
YouTube, I'm
Number
going to
3
take this serious.
is if the expiration date on the food is older than your life, don't eat it. Okay? You know, you can, the Twinkies.
Yes.
Twinkies.
Yes.
And in Indiana, they deep fry the Twinkies, so that's even
Yes.
worse. Like, no offense to the Twinkie eaters, but those things have an expiration date for about 10 years or something. So if the expiration date is longer than your life, do not eat it.
Right.
Okay?
So, and that really means eat fresh.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But preserved food. So, like, what about like ham and turkey that you get delicatessen, right? That's all.
I would go for the natural one that they actually shave in front of you.
Yeah.
Rather than the packet ones. The
Right.
ones in it. Yeah, for sure. I mean, to get protein, if you are a person that needs a higher level of protein and that's an easy source, it's not my first choice. Like the ones in the bag are definitely not a choice. But if you can get it cut in front of you, that
That's
is
the better
like
way
the
to go.
the more natural turkey. Yeah, for
See,
sure.
you don't even need your notes. You are on these 5. I love this.
Oh yeah,
Let's
I
go
preach
to
that
4.
for anyone that comes to my classes. No,
They know.
Yeah,
The
they
5.
definitely know. And then number 4 is if the words in the ingredients you cannot even pronounce.
Yes.
Golly, you have no business putting that in your body. If you can't even read it, then why are you putting it in your body?
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
And then number 5 is the portion control. The portion control has gotten out of control in the last 5 years.
Yes.
You know, South Africa, we still follow quite a kind of a European diet, and the portions are a lot smaller. Like when you go out, if you order a sandwich, you'll get a sandwich. And you'll get a sandwich.
Yes.
And that's all you'll get is a sandwich. And it's a tiny little sandwich. And then if you want fries, you can order fries and you'll get about 4.
Right.
And so when we came here and we saw, wow, the portion control, you've got enough food on your plate to eat
A family.
for 4 people.
Right.
For 4 people.
True.
So it's unbelievable. And then, when I see the big gulpies of Coke, oh my goodness, that people are drinking that for breakfast.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what, like I said, if you like a Coke or a Diet Coke, you can have one.
12 ounces, please.
Yes. Once a day, or maybe not even once, now and again, but like a big gulpy like that, so portion control's out of control. You've got to cut your portions.
And Diet Coke. I know we got some Diet Coke people here.
I know,
right?
I know.
They
And it's like-
love it.
Yeah, and it's
How bad is it for you? It's horrible.
It's bad, but there's a lot of things that are bad for you. There's
Yeah.
a lot of things. So you just have to kind of decide what you want to give up. Do I recommend Diet Coke? Absolutely not.
Good.
But there are addicts out there that
Yes.
love Diet Coke, and if you want to have it maybe one day a week in your 15%
Right.
behave like an animal day, then go for it. But just don't make it I mean, there's some people that will have 5 or 6 cans a day, and that's a problem.
Right.
Anything in excess is not healthy.
Yeah.
So-
Amen. So, Sharon, you have been so much fun. Jason, what did you think of our guest today?
I'm taking some pretty
Heavy.
heavy notes.
Right.
Heavy show notes.
And are you? I'm
Typing
just
away.
wondering. Are you 50% good with all this, or are you living maybe 30% good with all this?
Well, actually, right now I'm on a starvation diet, so I'm doing a lot of fasting. I'm going days up to last
Fasting
month.
is good.
Last month I went for 7 days without eating, and I'm dropping down 10 pounds a month.
Yeah,
and
it's
I
great.
feel great.
And
Yeah.
so what is your motivation for that? What is that? What are you?
I'm a little fatty.
So you're just
Actually,
trying to lose
my
weight.
brother bet me at this last Christmas that I couldn't get down to 180 pounds from 260 by the next Christmas. So
oh wow! So you're on a
$500
mission.
on the line. Yeah.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So just a couple of more things I just want to add quickly. It's food allergies. Food allergies are rampant right now.
Yes.
And so if you are not feeling right, and if you have a stomachache after you've eaten something, or you break out in hives or something, people just live with this kind of stuff.
Sure.
That's not normal.
Right.
That's not normal. So with allergies, after the menopause hit me, I've developed an allergy to yeast. And so brewer's yeast and baker's yeast.
Yes.
And so that's typically everything with gluten in it. And I cannot eat it. And I don't know how I developed it, but I did.
Yeah,
and
I think
so
I'm going through some of that.
you have to have your food allergies. If you don't want to go and get tested
How
at
do
a
you
place,
yeah.
then do an elimination diet.
Right.
So getting back to our 5 rules, the 5 rules are just eat real food.
Yes.
Just eat real fresh food. And so
Fruits and vegetables is what I say, but not too
and
big.
some proteins, proteins as well. So eliminate dairy, eliminate sugar, and
Amen.
eliminate carbohydrates.
Yes.
Go for about a week, and then add dairy. See how your stomach does. If it's fine, it's not the dairy. If you eat gluten a week later, so eliminate everything and then add in gradually, and then your body will react to what if it does have an allergy, if you don't want to go to a doctor and get tested. So that's also key. And then another one thing I have to add in this, I know
Yes.
it's kind of weird to talk about, but what goes in your body needs to come out.
Yes.
And so many people don't think that is a key component of healthy wellness is
Gut health.
yes, you've got
Colon
to go
health.
potty every
Yes.
day. If you are not, there's some people like, oh, I only go once a week. Oh my gosh, no wonder you're upset.
Yes.
You've got to.
How do you feel about colon cleanses?
Yeah, I mean.
They're extreme. I
they're
love
extreme.
them.
They're extreme. A lot of people do like them. I haven't done them much.
Yes.
I think
twice a year is good, right?
Yeah.
When you pay your taxes, May and November. Going for your colon cleanse.
I drink a couple of gallons of water a day. No joke. That's pretty good, right?
Yeah. And that's. I don't think you need any. I think
And I've always heard drink twice the amount of ounces than your body weight.
I always say start with 100 ounces, and then if
100
you,
ounces.
I always say 100 ounces,
Yeah,
and then
that's
if
good.
you need more, or if you don't.
Sharon, that was so awesome going through the red formula, learning about your history, and just all the great advice you've given our listeners today. I think when we talk about eating right and when we talk about exercising, you are just the perfect guest to have. Real tangible solutions for our people, real tangible action items. But now we're going to get to know you a little bit better in this thing that we called Knowledge Through the Decades. And what we're going to do is walk you through your life and ask you the attitude lesson that you've learned in each decade of your life. And so obviously what we always like to do is start with childbirth. Now, some people do remember being born, some people don't. So I would like to either ask you, if you don't remember, what do you think the lesson, the attitude lesson of a newborn baby is? Or think about your children when they were born. What's the attitude lesson that we can all garner from you, Sharon, in a newborn baby?
That's not a difficult question, but I'll try my best.
They only get harder,
Yeah,
Sharon.
gosh.
They only get harder.
What would the attitude be of a newborn?
Yes.
Wow.
Or what could you learn from a
What can I
newborn? Or what did
learn?
you learn when you had a newborn?
Well,
Don't worry, there's no wrong answers.
I need to have the Jeopardy sound effect. in here.
well, I think the attitude is pretty innocent at that point. You don't know what you don't know, and so it's probably pretty peaceful.
Right. So innocence and peace is what you're thinking.
Right.
Now, a lot of people don't feel innocence and peace with a baby that's screaming all the time.
Yeah.
Or possibly like Ash, who didn't sleep for 6 years.
You're right. That's fair. That's fair. So it could not always.
But I think the concept of innocence and peace is
innocence,
really fantastic.
and then
yes.
and then maybe not so peaceful.
And so we'll leave that one there.
Okay, these are hard.
That's okay. Now I want you to think about being a little girl in South Africa. You're 10 years old. You're probably in third grade when you're in 10 years old. Do you remember your third grade teacher?
I do.
What was her name or his name?
God, I had Mr. Ford. I had a whole bunch of different teachers. Yes, but I was definitely the little wild child, like I told you. I just got up every day and I was off to school and didn't care about academics. All I wanted to do was just socialize, and I was the free spirit. That's where my free spirit started.
I
My
love it.
attitude was a free spirit
Cool.
at 10, for
So,
sure.
and it's okay. And then, guys, it's okay to be a free spirit. It's okay to be 10. Sometimes we need to get back to who we were as children.
Yes.
Right? In order for us to grow, to receive growth, to receive information, and that's what we do when I speak publicly, is we try to put people in their childlike state. And so I love that answer. And my question to you who are listening is, are you putting yourself back in your childlike state? Are you able to tap into yourself as a child each and every single day? Mm-hmm. If you want to bridge the gap in your attitude, if you want to have a positive attitude, what I'm going to encourage you to do is think about that child that was having fun, that had that free spirit, and I think that's great. Now
That's
you're
strong.
20. Were you still in South Africa?
No, I left South Africa when I was 20.
Okay.
And
Holy crap. That's a
then
big deal. So
yes.
what's your attitude lesson there? What was going on in your head?
I think it was growth.
Nice.
That I left South Africa. I came here and I was a nanny, and then I went and lived in London for a year. And I was working above in a pub, downstairs in the bar, and working upstairs. And
You were a bartender?
yeah, in an old London pub. It was unbelievable. I met so many wonderful old men. They would come in and have their beer in the afternoon, and it was great. It was just realizing that there were so many other people in the world and different cultures and different people that were really cool.
Gosh.
And I wasn't just restricted to being South African, and I was out and I was free. I left South Africa and I went on my own. And I was dating a guy at the time, and I met him. He was South African. We met in London, and I was growing as a human.
That's cool.
And my attitude was, oh, well, sure, let's do it.
I like
you know?
it.
So
I like it.
lots of growth happened in those years.
I love it. And
Yeah.
so to tap into that lesson, right, there's no reason to stop that lesson. There's no reason to stop growing. And actually, attitude booster number 7, which is grow or die.
Right. And I'm a huge fan of that, for sure.
It's good. Well,
if you think you know everything, your soul dies. And if you don't keep learning, that's what I also always recommend to people too, is self coaching and just really keeping yourself educated and really working on that mindset of I can grow in all the time.
Sure.
And
maybe they could share this podcast because this is a personal development growth podcast.
Yeah, that's
right?
great.
I
Yeah,
love
for
it.
sure.
All right, so now
That was 20.
That was 20. Now, what happened with 30? Did you get married at 30?
No,
What
I
were
got
you
married
doing?
young. I got married young, 22, and then I had my first at 24, and
Oh
then
my
25.
gosh. Oh.
So my 30s, I definitely matured. My attitude was mature,
Nice.
and I had two kids, and so my professional world was getting better. It was getting bigger. I started really finding my steps and my stride in the fitness world,
Right.
where I was doing more of the one-on-one. That was my core business of one-on-ones. So yeah, maturity was I felt like I had picked up a lot more responsibility being a mom,
Right.
and also love.
Yeah.
The attitude of love was huge. I didn't
Cool.
realize how much you could love something until you have your own kids, right?
I love it, and
Yeah.
you exemplify that, and I think that's beautiful. And so I hope that those listening take a second to analyze how mature am I, how mature am I being,
Yeah.
and how much am I loving others. And so this will be the last one. When you turned 40,
Yes.
just 7 quick years ago.
Yeah, so that was kind of the tough years of my life. I was divorced about 10 years ago, so it was kind of creeping up into my 40s. And then I realized that was a huge point in my life where I realized that I can do anything I want to do if my mind is right.
Girl. Good.
I didn't think I'd come out of it all, but I did, and I'm proud of it because I really fought hard to change my attitude and realize that, you know what, I'm good. I can do this. I can do this.
You're going to bridge that
And a lot of
gap.
people always come to me and say, "Well, how did you do it? Like how I'm all alone now, and I'm like, you can do it." I had a friend of mine last night. She was talking to me about it, and I was like, "Don't look back, because the moment you look back, you lose momentum and you lose sight of the goal, and that's to get yourself going again. And so, don't waste your time looking back. There's nothing good that comes out of looking back.
Yeah, you can't
You know,
see your future in the rear view mirror,
right.
baby.
In anything you do. I mean, if you're racing, you look back, it costs you seconds.
Yes.
If you are in a difficult situation, you have no business. You're not going to gain anything by looking back. You've just got to keep going forward. So I think strength. My attitude was strength and power, that I had it.
I love it. Well, Sharon, you are strong. You are powerful. We are so thankful.
I'm thankful for you too.
You know,
it's like as you get older, you realize we've been friends for so long, and it's like I really value my wealth on friendships and relationships, and it makes us really, really strong. And life is too short not to have those.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen.
So.
Well, we are going to wrap this up. It has been good. We focused on Attitude Booster number 9, Eat Right and Exercise, with the incredible Sharon Phillips. You can check her out on Instagram at Sharon L. Phillips. You can hit her on Facebook at Sharon Phillips. She has asked if you were moved by this podcast, if there was something that you want to speak more to her about, if her story moved you, and she's been through some stuff, and she talked about how the exercise and the eating right and that physical condition created that strength that she ultimately, and this woman has strength, I'm telling you. She walks around. The girl, when she walks into a room, Jason, does she light up a room when she walks up the room?
Definitely did.
There's no question about that. So, Sharon, thank you so much, and it was great to have you on the
Thank you. I'm absolutely privileged to be on the show, and I appreciate it.
Very good.
Thank you.
And this is Glenn Bill signing off for Attitude Booster number 9, Eat Right and Exercise with the great Sharon Phillips. We will see you on the next Get Attitude podcast.